What's going on? What's going on? It's yours truly, Coach Cloud, the one and only. We back with another full episode. Happy Thanksgiving. I know it's Thanksgiving Eve. Hey, I'm grateful for a lot of things. A healthy baby, got a baby coming up on the way. But also, just thankful, to be with family members and loved ones that I haven't seen in a while. Eat good though, man. What's your favorite Thanksgiving food? I'm not the biggest turkey guy. Just give me some salmon. Give me some smoked salmon with asparagus. I'm trying to be healthy, man. I'm trying to live long, like man. I'm done with that dry turkey, ham. Nah, I'm cool on the swine. Give me some salmon. Oh yeah, I want to do something different. Give me a steak or something. That's what I like for Thanksgiving steak. I want to be different, man. I'm sorry. Sorry, I gotta be different. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But this week, college basketball is definitely different with the Players Era event. It's kind of overshadowing Maui, the College of Charleston, a lot of Thanksgiving events. So, we're going to talk about the Feast Week matchups. Las Vegas, man, the Players Era Festival, they doing the thing, though. As far as atmosphere wise, I wish it could be a bit better. It's not as hype as I thought it would be, but you had some great matchups the first couple of days of this week, man. You had Bama versus Zaga, Syracuse versus Houston. That wasn't a thriller. Tennessee versus Houston yesterday. St. John's versus Iowa State. That was a banger. Baylor versus St. John's. That was a banger. Michigan versus Auburn. That was a banger. The Michigan blew the tops off yesterday. Seton Hall versus NC State a couple of days ago. So, like I said, IU versus Kansas State. That was a beat down. So it was a lot of good games that was happening over the past couple of days. And that's what I like to see, in Feast Week. A lot of good basketball, a lot of matchups. This is the games that's going to, get you over that bubble or over that hump late in March. So not late in March, but like late in February, when the resumes starting to be looked over to see like who's bidding who. This is good for seeding and all that. So definitely gotta, make sure you scheduling these high quality games so that you can, see your team dance and in the big dance when it comes to the last day of the regular season. So, let's get into it though, man. Bama versus Zaga. That was a high scoring game. And Gonzaga, they pulled it off, man. This is really Gonzaga's first real big test nationally to see what they were against. They put a beat down on Creighton earlier a couple weeks ago in the beginning of the season, but now they're going against a hot Bama team that beat Illinois, and they also beat St. John's in a row. So it's good to see how Gonzaga play well versus the quote unquote backcourt in college basketball. And one thing I will say though about Gonzaga, they have a real old team though with Grant Foster Williams, Graham Mike, Hoff, Brandon Hoff. Like they got a lot of older guys. Like the average age is like 23 years old. The oldest guy is 25 years old. So when you got a starting, majority of your top players are older than 21 years old, which is the average college student. 21 to 22 is when most people graduate. But they got some 25-year-olds. They got guys that can rent cars, start families. They probably on their second year and they outside of college. Traditionally, so they got a G League team basically. So like, they took care of business, showing they veteran and their physical toughness versus a high flying Bama team. Now let's get to Q's. Q's versus Houston. This was Syracuse really first test versus a team that was at a non-power five or power four conference, and they played pretty well. Sadiq White Jr. I like him. He's a freshman out of Charlotte. Cayenne, he had about 10 points. I feel like he's gonna be good. I feel like he should stay a year or two to get his body right, but he's gonna be a good player for the Qs though. Nathan King, the Georgia Tech transfer, he played pretty well. He had about 4 threes. Tyler Betsy, the Iowa transfer, he was letting the fly. George, they got some guys though. JJ Starlin, he's starting to come back. Donnie Freeman got hurt though, so maybe if their best player doesn't get hurt, maybe it's a different story though. But they took Houston down to the wire, and it had it was the score was just back and forth, back and forth. Syracuse just came in, they was hungry and hungry, and Houston. They was probably a little bit shell-shocked. They probably didn't expect Syracuse to be playing that as hard. They was playing just as hard as Houston. But the freshman, Emmanuel Sharp, and Maza Uzan, Fleming, Uzan, and Sharp. That's a hard trio to stop, though, man. Even though they fell to Tennessee yesterday, but like I said, they're gonna be a force to be reckoned with, though. So Kelvin Sampson, he's playing a lot of young guys, so he's still getting a lot. The young guys still getting accustomed to playing high level college basketball. So we're gonna see how the freshmen like really kind of just mature as the season goes. But I'll say this about Houston though: Houston lost 2 games last year in the Players Era Festival, and they went all the way to the Final Four national championship game. Because I kind of had wrote them off last year, so I wouldn't, like I said, wouldn't be too much concern on Houston. Because like I said, Kelvin Sampson, he's a hell of a coach, and he's gonna get those guys, back to playing high level defense. But Q's, they played Kansas yesterday, and they look like a totally different team. Like I said, Donnie Freeman was out. Melo's son, Kai Anthony, he shot 2 for 12. So he has to, learn how to not go in the paint when there's all those trees. Flory Bonga of Kansas, he's been playing. He's gonna boost his lot. He's gonna boost his stock up. He might be a lottery pick this year. First round right now, but he's gonna be a first round. He's gonna definitely be looking like a lottery pick the way he's catching, passing, shooting the mid range, jumper, spacing the floor out, rebounding, and blocking shots. He was a realm force record out there. So it's going to be interesting to see how Kansas, like I said, Kansas has been playing pretty well. They've been undefeated without Darren Peterson. So a lot of people will kind of wrote them off, but Trey Carroll, Melvin Cancel, Bryson Tiller, not the singer, Bryson Tiller, the basketball player, that's 6'11" from Atlanta, Georgia. Bryson Tiller's from Louisville, the singer. But anyway, so like I said, Bryson Tiller, man, he looks real good. This is like my first couple times seeing him play well versus Tar Heels in the first half, but now he's starting to put it all together though. Him and Flory Bonga with the big passing, looking like Kansas old school Bill Self basketball though. So they played Maryland today, matter of fact. So like I said, shout out to the Jayhawks for getting it done versus Qs. Now Tennessee versus Houston. Now Jacoby Gillespie might be one of the best guards in the. You got to put him up there in the best guards in America because Jacoby Gillespie had 31 versus the Houston Cougars, and he's looking like a well-oiled machine. Him, they Amit, they're gonna be a force to be working with in the SEC though. Like they just can get buckets at all levels of the game. And Jacoby Gillespie, one thing I'll say about him, as a small guard, he knows how to use that floater, protect himself, going to the rim. Shot fake, just learn how to pick a roll, get steals, turns points off turnovers quickly if you get a steal on you. And I like the Opara. He used to go to Ohio State a couple years ago. He's one of the best centers, defensive anchors in the nation. And I really like his game as well. He's starting to expand his game, shooting threes as well. And he always been a shot blocker. Nate Amit, he's a problem though, man. He put on about 20 pounds of muscle, and then he's really showing it like that I can play through contact, and he's being aggressive though. I remember the Rutgers game when they blew out Rutgers Monday. They was a little down. He was like, "Hey man, you need to be aggressive," and he came out, had 17, and the second half finished with 20. So that's how good these Tennessee Volunteers, they could probably win the SEC because Florida's not really looking like that. So we're gonna see Arkansas looking a little vulnerable. Vanderbilt, we're gonna see they play versus Western Kentucky today. We're gonna see what they looking like. So like I said, the SEC looking kind of not as strong as they did last year. They still gonna be good. Like Texas lost to Arizona State. Arizona State, they in the championship in Maui versus USC, an old Pac-12 showdown. We're gonna see who won that game tonight. But it's gonna be very interesting though. Back at it again. Sorry for a little commercial break. Well, let's get to St. John's flying as well. Iowa State is a team that's on me. They feel like they're gonna be a TJ Osborne, Tyler Lissy, Joshua Jefferson. They got a good team, man. They're a world machine. They've been real dominant in this player's era, and I like them what I see from Iowa State. I was a big fan of them last year, but this year I think they can go to the Final Four in Lucas Oil Stadium. I won't be surprised if they win the Big 12. That's how good they've been. Because like I said, they can beat BYU, they can beat Kansas, they can beat Texas Tech. Texas Tech looking a little bit vulnerable this year. missing Darren Williams. So we're gonna see Texas Tech a little bit young though. We're gonna talk about Texas Tech a little bit later though. So like I said, Kansas State, they can beat Kansas State. I feel like Iowa State is the best team right now. Like I said, they play the right way. They got matchups, bigs that can stretch the floor out, take you off the dribble, and they just move the ball and they play defense. And that's one thing I like about Iowa State. And St. John's, they did their thing though. They big Zuby Ejiofor and Bryce Hawkins. They played well. I see Bertino still having Dylan Mitchell and N. Jackson come off the bench. So, they still kind of St. John's. This is not the best version of St. John's, but they need to figure it out because UConn will be on their tail. Georgetown will be on their tail. So St. John's, they better figure it out soon though. They look dominant versus Baylor. Patino said, I think they could take the New York Knicks that first half of basketball versus Baylor, but we're gonna see though, man. So St. John's, they've been taking a couple big blows though, as far as losing big game matchups though, and they're supposed to be a Final Four contender as well. Michigan versus Auburn. Ooh, Michigan put the brakes off of Auburn right there in front of Bruce Pearl, calling the game for his son. Now I know it was a nepotism hire, but they put up 100 to 160 to 69 points. Like they just dominated them, man. Like Yaxel Lindenberg, man, he's a problem, man. He's looking like coming back to college for Yaxel Lindenberg was probably the greatest decision he ever made. Because now he looks like a wing out there that can play the 3-4 in the league rather than just a center. Because he was playing center at UAB majority of his career, but now, like I said, he just shooting that ball like it's like a wing out there. Like he's looking like a Obi Toppin type of prototype out there. So like that's real good for him. But more, he can take you off the dribble, make tough shots, turn around shots, and he's gonna rebound and block shots. That's what he does, though. So Andy Mara, Neri Barnett, Rodney Grail Jr. I'm talking about Elliot Cadeau, Morez Johnson Jr. They got size. Will Cheddar, like that, man. Michigan, the Big Ten. Big Ten is gonna be a force to be reckoned with though this year. Like they got a lot of talented teams. A lot of talented teams. They may get 12 teams in the NCAA tournament this year. That's how good I think the Big Ten will be this year. But like I said, Michigan, they dominated Auburn. Seton Hall versus NC State. Seton Hall was the first team to be the first unranked team to be the ranked team, and that was 96-1. So far this year. So Seton Hall, they look like they're gonna be pretty good in the Big Ten. They was picked to finish last. They undefeated right now. I think they just took a loss to USC yesterday. So it's gonna be pretty interesting to see how the Pirates do in the Big East, and maybe could they be a top 5, top 6 team? Maybe they try to get 6 teams in the Big East. Who knows? The committee be kind of a little lean, be kind of a little down in the Big East, which is it is what it is though. But maybe with Villanova, Providence, Georgetown back, maybe that's good for the Big East to bolster that resume and that national media for the Big East to get in more, push more teams in. Because like I said, Villanova and UConn, they showed y'all that the Big East over the years that it's a force to be reckoned with though. So you can't ignore that at all. So one thing with NC State is that the coach had a lot of hype coming in, but one thing I will say, they gotta play harder though, because right now they're looking like the 5th or 16th best team in the ACC right now. Because Notre Dame, don't sleep on them. I think they're gonna be pretty well. Clemson, they just beat Georgia in a neutral site game, high scoring game. I feel like they're gonna be better than what more people would think about as well. So that's one thing, you can't sleep on all these teams though. Just because you got the quote unquote top transfers on paper, you gotta put it together on the court though. Okay, let's get into it, man. Mid-major top games of the week. I like VCU versus South Florida. That's going to be a high-scoring game. 2 new coaches at 2 new programs, but these programs are just known for just launching off coaches' careers, though. So I like VCU in that game. You got Georgetown versus Dayton. Give me Georgetown. I think Georgetown, Malik Mack, and KJ Lewis, and they're gonna add Cooley. It's gonna be a good one because they didn't just beat Marquette though. So we're gonna see it at Marquette. So it's gonna be an interesting game. That's gonna be a real dog fight at Thanksgiving. And you got Santa Clara versus St. Louis. I like Santa Clara in that game. Santa Clara is gonna be. I think they're going to the tournament. They could probably win the West Coast Conference, so you never know. So I have a question: Is the Players Ever Festival is the Players Era Festival taken away from Maui and other events? Players as Players Era is reportedly paying 1 million per team, and they get more money if they win or lose. The winners get 1 million, and the losers get 500K in the championship game. So, it's been a lot of rust and rumble about, the players there saying that it's kind of ruining the feast week. Like I said, it's not the same. It doesn't have the same traction. Got a lot of high profile games, but it's kind of meaningful games though, because like it's no bracket. Like Iowa State is playing against Maryland, and Maryland lost a game. Maryland lost 2 games, but Iowa State's undefeated. Syracuse is playing Kansas, and they lost, and Kansas undefeated. Like it just makes no sense though. Like you got to have more organization if you're going to have 32 teams next year, and just keep expanding it. I know it's fine to play money and all that, but you got to make sure the right teams are playing each other, not the loser plays the winner. Like that just makes no sense. Like make sure the match goes well. Just make sure you know what you're doing as far as just expanding the game. Make it I don't think Las Vegas is the right place, because like a lot of things is there to do to Vegas, and Vegas has a lot of things in the outside going on, different time changes. Maybe change it to New York, maybe change it to Texas, somewhere where people are gonna stay in one spot rather than just hey, let's go play blackjack, or let's watch the game at the pool or something. Though, man, you want everybody in that setting though, that that good setting, to watch the game, and, just cheer on their best teams though, like Maui. Them smaller gyms, they just get that nostalgia of college basketball. That's what college basketball is about. So another question I got is the Big Ten the best conference right now? Is it? Is the Big Ten this year's SEC, or years ago the Big East? Because I got to name these teams. You got Indiana, Illinois, Ohio State, Michigan State. They just beat the Bryce off of East Carolina by 30. By 30 though. I know it's East Carolina, but damn, by 30. You got them. You got what else you got, man? It's so many teams in the Big East. You got USC, Washington. That's 6 teams right there. I just named off. Then you got so many other unknowns. You don't know what Penn State is gonna do. They also a hot start too as well. So it's gonna be like the Big East. Those 6 teams I named, they're gonna be really, really, they're gonna be really good to Northwestern. You can't sleep on it. They just beat South Carolina. So like I said, I think the Big East. This is the year I feel like they can win a championship. One of them teams at the Big East, at the Big Ten, can win. I just feel like this is the time for them to. It's been over almost 30 years now since Michigan State, so it's been like 25 years going on now since the Big Ten has won a basketball championship. Ohio State and Michigan, they did it in football. Now, can basketball get it done? I think they can. I won't be surprised if it's a Big Ten Final Four. Won't be surprised if you had 2 teams from the Big Ten make it. You got Illinois. I feel like they have strong consideration. I didn't bring up Purdue. I didn't even say Purdue. It could be Purdue, Illinois. Shoot, Ohio State. They could be a dark horse. You never know. Like it's so much talent in the Big Ten, and Michigan. They could win it all. I ain't even named them yet. So like, just to let alone, that's just tell you how talented the Big Ten is this year in basketball. I don't know who's the best right now because it's a real lot of moving parts though. Because like I said, it's like 18 teams in the Big Ten right now. But hey, ask yourself that question though. I just named off some teams, and I left off a couple teams as well too though. But Michigan, Purdue, Illinois, Those are my top 3 teams in the Big Ten right now, though. Let me know who's yours. Next, we got the top games of the week. I like got Tennessee versus Kansas today. Michigan versus Gonzaga. North Carolina versus Michigan State. Duke versus Arkansas. And UConn versus Illinois. So let's talk about that Tennessee versus Kansas. Now, I think that Tennessee versus Kansas game, I like Tennessee in this game. I like Tennessee, if they, whatever the spread is, I'm taking Tennessee to cover. I like the card play. I feel like Tennessee, they just beat Houston. They got their confidence. Best win of the season for them. They lost to them in the Elite Eight to get to that Final Four by 19. So I feel like that was a good revenge. I feel like Tennessee, I think they're gonna take care of Kansas though. Kansas, they've been doing good without Darren Peterson, but I think they're gonna need Darren Peterson this game to beat Tennessee though. So give me Tennessee in that game. Michigan versus Gonzaga for the Players Era Festival Championship. I like Michigan. I think that's going to be a high scoring game, older game, physical game too as well. So I like Michigan. Just I feel like Michigan got the better guards and the better talent. Don't get me wrong, Gonzaga been showing dominance lately, but I just think Michigan has the best shot to really win it all as well too though. Just with their coach, he's been to the Final Four before, and I feel like Dusty May can really recruit and coach his butt off. And just the guard, they got a bench too though. Like that bench could be some starters in the other teams as well too though. So that's one thing I want to keep that in mind. Another game of the week, North Carolina. Then this is Thanksgiving games right here. I'm about to say North Carolina versus Michigan State. Now that's gonna be a game to watch right there. Izzo versus Hubert Davis. They beat us last year in Maui. So let's see. I think the Tar Heels going to take down the Michigan State Spartans, though. So, shout out to my boy Cameron Pace. He's a Michigan State fan. But, Sparty's going down. Caleb Wilson, book him for another 20 and 13 or 20 and 10 game because that's what he does night to night. I know we mentioned Self Trimble, but I think Evans and the Biz, Vessar, and Wilson, Jonathan Powell on the wing, I think they're going to take care of business. It's going to be a good game. It's going to be a dogfight, though. It's definitely going to be a dogfight, though. We're going to see because, like I said, Fears, Cooper Carson, and Jackson Collier, Cam Ward, Michigan State got a good team, man. Like I said, they got a big team. I mean, like I said, Big Ten is a hard conference. So, like, this is a good game for Thanksgiving for the, real college basketball fans like myself and whoever's watching this pod. I know you would love to see that game. But the primetime game, Duke versus Arkansas. That's right after the Kansas City and Dallas Cowboys game. So, you can tune in after that. It's a great day of sports tomorrow. Duke versus Arkansas. I like Arkansas in that. I feel like Arkansas's athleticism and guard play is going to give Duke for what they're looking for. Duke, they played Kansas. They didn't really play that well. Duke hasn't really played their best basketball. None of these teams has really played their best basketball. Shoot, Arkansas almost lost to Winthrop at home. And so we're going to see how that game plays out. I think it's going to be a real interesting game. I like Arkansas. It's going to be in Chicago, too. So, yeah, give me Arkansas in that. I like that. I'm not the biggest Boozer fan. I feel like Arkansas's bigs and wings can give Duke a run for his money, though. It's going to be an NBA type of player matchup, though. That's what I like. And the final game of the week, top game, UConn versus Illinois. Now, if UConn's healthy, I like to see UConn, but give me Illinois. I think Illinois, that's another team that could be a Final Four. This is like a Final Four matchup. This is a Final Four matchup type of games tomorrow and Friday. So, like I said, UConn and Illinois, that's going to be a real special game. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. And Stojakovic, he's putting on a show, just like the Balkans of Illinois. They know what they're doing over there. So, I like Illinois in that matchup. Okay. Mid-major player of the week. Mid-major player of the week is Dior Johnson. Dior Johnson, the UCF and Pitt transfer. This kid, he's getting out the mud. He's averaging 22 points off the bench. He had 42 points versus Baylor, 29 versus Rice earlier last week. So, like I said, the kid is just getting buckets. He's showing you that, hey, I'm a professional bucket getter. So, shout out to Dior Johnson. He's getting it down at Tarleton State, man. Getting it done, man. He's crafty, makes shots, good athleticism, good size, was a highly touted player coming out of high school. He took a little battle, some adversity. I think he's humbled himself, and now he just doing work, like Kobe. Kobe doing work, Dior doing work, man. That's what you're doing, man. Shout out to Dior Johnson, man. Mid-major freshman of the week is Rakeem Chaney of Valparaiso. This man is averaging 18 points per game, 3.6 assists, and 4.2 rebounds. A 6'3 guard is just going crazy, man. So shout out to Rakeem Chaney. I'm gonna be looking out for you, man. He's gonna be the Horizon League freshman of the year. I'm calling it now. Or the Missouri Valley. I know they be switching conferences. One of the two, Missouri Valley, or he's gonna be the Missouri Valley conference player. Freshman player of the year. So like, book that for sure. It might be all conference too in the Missouri Valley. The way he been getting buckets though. But like I said, man, appreciate y'all tuning in. We got more content coming out. Just keep viewing, like, share, subscribe.